better. It's just easier for me. Anybody have a good week? I had a good week. So ironically, I love the Bible. It's meant a lot to me throughout my life. Ironically, my two most favorite quotes in the world, neither one of them come from Scripture. First one, and this is actually my favorite quote of all time, comes from, I guess she's running for president now as a Democrat, but it's Marianne Williamson, so it's not a political thing. Before Marianne was running for president, she was a spiritual teacher, particularly on A Course in Miracles. But this is the quote. It says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." And I have found this to be so true in myself and in working with people. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. So I've been contemplating for a while now spirituality and its relationship with mental health. Particularly, let's say, religion and its relationship with mental health. And I'm going to use the term, let me define terms. So for me, religion is looking to something outside of yourself for something. Spirituality necessarily includes looking within. So you can be religious and spiritual. You can have, because the word religion just means a path of devotion. So you can have a path of devotion to something, to God, to Jesus, to whatever, and be connecting that with spirituality. But you can also have spirituality and not have religion. And very often, people have religion but have no spirituality. Because indoctrination in certain religious beliefs is the most disempowering thing that can happen to a person in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm sure there's worse things, but as a general rule, when you're talking about just general experiences, shared experiences that many people have, religion can be one of the most disempowering things. It is deliberately disempowering. And that's completely contrary to the teachings of Jesus. So what would happen, I mean, I almost thought about, people got all worked up with the Beatles, and John Lennon and the song Imagine There's No Heaven, that whole thing. But it kind of speaks to that idea of taking away this idea that we need to look outside ourselves for something that we already have. So my motto has kind of become lately, if it's going to be, it's up to me. If it's going to be, it's up to me. So I want to postulate something to you. I want to ask you a question. What is it, if anything, that you want to change in your life? What is it, if anything, that you want to improve in your life or that you want to see get better? Or if it's not just for you in your life, what do you want to see improve in the world? That's the first question. So what do I want to change about myself? What do I want to change in my life? What do I want to see coming back to me in my life? Or how do I want to give my gifts away in such a way that I can leave the world, at least the world that I'm a part of, right, better off than when I came? That's the first question. Once you start asking yourself that question, you're able to answer that question, then the second question becomes, what are you doing about it? What are you actually doing about it? Because until you take strong, congruent, powerful action, until you change something in the way you are conducting yourself. I hate to use the term behavior because it has a trigger with it, because it takes most of us back to childhood, and we think, oh my God, my behavior. Somebody's judging my behavior. But the truth is, unless something changes at the level of your neurology, unless you're taking action towards what it is that you think you want, it's not going to happen. Nothing's going to change. If you're sitting around waiting for somebody else, including God in the sky somewhere, to take action for you for something to change in your life, I've got bad news for you. You're going to be waiting for a long time. And that waiting is part of what's preventing you from having it. That's part of what's preventing you from having it. So then the last question is, what is it inside you? What is it internally? What is it that's preventing you or I from taking the action that we know we want to take in order to have the thing that we want to have? This has been it's been a fun journey. I've enjoyed the journey that I've been on. It's been a funny journey, and I don't want to just label one group of people, but I'm going to anyway because we're in church. But I'm going to tell you right now, Christians are the meanest people on the planet. Amen. They're just absolutely mean. Yes. There's a famous pastor, famous in his circles, well-known pastor that committed suicide, I think 2 weeks ago. And you go to his Facebook page, you think you'd find condolences, you think you'd find support. Instead, you find all these people on the Facebook page trying to convince his family that he went to hell. Oh, that's just mean. Yes. And then there's some other stuff that's just gone on, and it's so funny because people, don't like that I challenge certain things, but they can't deal with the challenge just straight on. Very, very few people can. Very few people can. So they just come up with crazy stuff to say about you. I mean, it's just amazing. And then they're just determined to destroy your reputation and your life. And for what? Because you don't agree with them? It's insane. So I used to think, I've always kind of been on the cutting edge. So I've always been pushing the envelope. I mean, my entire life, I've just had people just coming at me for one thing or another. I just have, right? It's been crazy. And I used to think that was the devil, the devil working on these people to discourage me or whatever. And I've just decided it has absolutely nothing to do with the devil at all. They're just mean people. They're just pathological, mean-spirited people. Absolutely true. All right, so that's my part of this that's a group therapy session for me. So let's come back to this. So what is it? So here's the thing. God isn't preventing you from having it. The devil isn't preventing you from having it. There isn't some entity or force out there that's so opposed to you. By the way, you're not so special anyway that you're going to be changing the entire structure of the planet or the world that they would care about you anyway, even if they did exist. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. Just saying. So whatever is holding you back is actually internal. It's actually within yourself. Whatever's preventing you from taking action, whatever's holding you back is an idea, is a thought, is a belief, is a feeling, is an emotion, is a value system, is a narrative or story that you're telling yourself about yourself and about life and about others. It's a life script. It's your self-talk. It's all that stuff internally that's causing you to not have what you want to have. And sometimes it's because we fear our power more than our inadequacies. Sometimes we're afraid what would happen if I just turned things loose, if I just went for it. One of the things that's amazing to me when someone gets diagnosed with a terminal illness, in my mind, if you have a terminal illness, you should throw everything at it. Right? So what's wrong with positive thinking? See, this is what's crazy because, there are studies, multiple, well-documented, well-verified, peer-reviewed research studies that show that having positive emotions and positive thoughts and positive feelings has a positive impact on your immune system and a positive impact upon your body. It's undeniable the mountain of research that's out there to support that, right? But you start talking positively around a lot of medical professionals about a disease that is terminal, and they think you're in denial. They think you haven't got the message. And so somehow they think it's their mission in life to stop you from being positive and make sure you know how bad off you are. Like it's really bad for you to be thinking positive. And I don't get it. Are they afraid you're going to be disappointed if you die? Yeah. Like, you're going to die. Like, according to natural processes. So what's the problem? I totally don't get it. I look at these people and I think, why do you need to convince them that they're going to die? Why? So they'll take the treatment that you know won't cure them, or you wouldn't have said they were terminal. Makes no sense. So sometimes, we're afraid of being disappointed. We're afraid of being hurt. We're afraid of being egotistical. We're afraid of getting the big head. I mean, what is it that keeps us locked in these belief systems, in this self-talk and in these narratives that prevent us from moving forward and taking action on the things that we think we really want to have? You get what I'm saying? And so if you can realize, I think if I want to try and get this across, what I'm trying to help you and help us do is to reclaim our power, to put the power and the control over your own life back into your own hands. And to encourage you to stop stopping yourself, watch this, to stop stopping yourself because you are a victim of your own thinking. So, because one of the things I figured out is that we victimize ourselves to everything. I mean, in your mind, you can be a victim to your upbringing. You can be a victim to your trauma. You can be a victim to your socioeconomic status that you started out with. You can be a victim to the color of your skin. You can be a victim to your own morality and values. You can be a victim to and by victim, here's what I mean. Victim's probably not the best word. You become the effect rather than the cause. So I'm the effect of my childhood traumas. I'm the effect of the family I was raised in. I am the effect of the way society is set up to not favor me. I am the effect of the political system that's broken and preventing me from getting a better job. I'm a victim of the educational system that failed me and didn't push me through enough. You see what I'm saying? I'm an effect of all those different things. And the moment you put yourself at effect, you give away your power. And the moment you give away your power, you give away every hope. Listen to me. You give away every hope and any chance of something changing and something good happening in your life. You're going to just float through life constantly being an effect. And whichever way the wind blows, that's where you're going to be. And so if there's anything that we can do, if there's anything I can convince you of this morning, it's to put yourself back at cause, to take a look inside yourself and say, what are the excuses? What am I procrastinating? What am I putting off? What am I telling myself that's preventing me from taking action? What's the story? What's the movie that's running through my mind that because you're the star in your movie, right? Everybody is. But you're letting someone else direct it. And so then you're just kind of floating around and life's just kind of happening because you're at effect. And you don't have to be at effect. All you got to do is wake up and realize that you're a child of God. You're an extension of God. The light and the glory of God is on the inside of you. You are the extension of God. Paul says in Colossians that Christ in you. And we think Christ is Jesus' last name. Seriously. Like, people have no idea what Christ even means. They just think it means that guy hanging on the cross over there or something. No, to the Jewish-minded person of Paul's day, the word Christ was the term Messiah. And here was the problem. They were looking for a Messiah that would come from outside, that God was going to raise up, that was going to cause this great political upheaval and deliver them from political oppression so that they could be happy. And Paul went around saying the word of God is this, that you quit looking outside yourself for a Savior. You quit looking outside yourself for a Messiah, but that you realize the hope of glory. Watch this. The hope of glory is the Messiah, the Savior, the deliverer inside of you. That's the hope of glory. So in other words, you have no hope if Christ is outside of you. If a Savior has to come and save you, you have no hope. And Paul's message wasn't, you are so broken and busted and disgusted and disgusting to God and evil and wicked and horrible that God had to come and kill his own son so that he could feel better about you and save you. That was not what Paul was saying. Paul was saying, stop looking to the heavens. I mean, the scripture said in Psalms, well, where does my help come from? I will look to the how's that go? Help me out. I will look to the hills or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? He's saying, stop doing that. Stop looking for a political Messiah. Stop looking for, it's in you. You are an extension of God. And Jesus said the same thing. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth. When he said that, he's saying, you have power. He said, don't take your light and hide it underneath a bushel. Set it on a lampstand and let it shine. And people do that now, and we try to take them down because they don't think like us. Their light is different than us. They don't think like us, so we want to put a shade on them. Or their light is brighter than ours, so we want to put theirs out. And so we sit like Bronco fans the day after a Bronco game and critique, and well, the coach should have did this, and if the quarterback would have done that, and why did he do that? And he's so stupid, and why can't he catch the ball? And you can't even get off the sofa. Yeah. Right? But it's easier to just sit there and say, well, they would have, should have, could have. And that is a bitter, nasty spirit. It is a psychological poison, not if you're doing that with the Broncos. But I'm saying if you are not taking action and you are just sitting down complaining about where you are, bitter about where you are, pointing your finger at everybody else that is in a different place and being the effect, that is the poison that you are drinking. And you know what? You are getting back from life the exact thing that you're putting into life. The vibration that you're putting out there, the thoughts that you're putting out there, the feelings, the emotions, and the actions that you're doing, life is reflecting it back to you. So life is a mirror for you. And if you look at life and you don't like what you have, you got to realize you're the only person that's going to change it. You're the only one. You can get support from people. Yes, that takes action. That takes building relationships. You got to get off this entitlement thing. Like, one of the most difficult things about doing church is people's expectations for community. They will come in and not talk to anybody. They won't do anything to build relationship outside themselves. Then they'll come and say, this place is unfriendly. And then when I was in the hospital, nobody came and saw me. Nobody brought me food. The church is supposed to be meeting these needs for me. Why? Why is that supposed? Why are you entitled to that? It's your fault you couldn't go out and you didn't build relationships, that you were shy, that you have a rejection spirit or attitude or stuff that you're telling yourself. It's your fault that you couldn't move past your comfort zone to do that. If you have supportive relationships in your life, they're going to be there for you when you need them. And you need to wake up and realize maybe there might be a day I need supportive relationships and I need to learn how to not be such a jerk. Maybe there's a reason people don't support you or don't want to come around you, and it ain't them. Maybe you don't add value to their life. Maybe you come in with your, like so many people. You remember the Peanuts cartoon? Remember Peanuts? Who's the guy? The pig pen. Right? Just comes in. Jeanette said the homeschool on what is it, middle school day. Everybody comes in like Pigpen because they're middle schoolers. I guess they just stink. I don't know. But there's people that stink emotionally. There's people, their vibration stinks. Their inner world is a pigpen. And you can pick that up vibrationally, particularly if you're not like that. I mean, and here's the problem. When it comes to vibrations, like attracts like. So pigpen find other pigpens. And then they sit around and they bond around their slop. They bond around their misery. They bond around their complaints. Come on, ladies. I know some of you, maybe probably somebody watching. Nobody in this room, I'm sure. But I know, it's kind of a cultural thing for ladies sometimes to bond around what's wrong with the men in their lives. So they get out and go out for drinks or coffee or whatever, and they just complain about each other's husbands or mates or dates or whatever. All right, nobody in this room, I'm sure, but But you get it, you see it at work. People, they gravitate. You can have 75%, 80% positive work environment. You can have a supervisor that's doing their best, but they have these growing edges like everybody else, and they make mistakes, and they say dumb things, and they offend people, and whatever, and that's just the nature of life. But a lot of people take that 20%, and they'll fixate on that 20%, and then that becomes the focus. And they forget about the other 70% that's good and positive and helpful and healthy and right? Yeah. And then so they're bonding. But my point is, but here's the other thing, that is that the person you want in your foxhole? Is that the person you want with you when the chips are down? Yeah. Emotional pigpen. Is that the person you want to call when you get a diagnosis, heaven forbid? Or is that the person you want to tell your dreams to? Let me show you my dream board. Is that the person you want around in your life when the chips are down? I would say not. But so here's the problem. See, I want somebody that's going to be able to encourage me. I want somebody that's going to be upbeat. I want somebody who's got their crap together. Right? Yeah, come on. Overcame some stuff, has some victories, has some testimonies. I mean, that's the person I want, right? But here's the problem. That person doesn't resonate with where you're resonating. So they don't even know the junk that's going on in your head, but they can feel it. And they're just repelled by it, right? Because here's the other thing about vibrations. When there's dissonance, they cancel each other out. So if you're walking at a higher vibration of love and appreciation, and you have a sense of empowerment, and you get around people that are disempowered, guess what happens? Your vibrations cancel out. So now, even though you didn't talk to that person, or you said, how are you doing, and tried to go to your happy place, when they started, I'm really guilty about that, I'd be honest. What happens then is that person walks away because that vibration has been canceled out and they just don't feel as good. And we are wired, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with this or not, you are biologically wired to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. That's just the facts. Yeah. Your survival in some cases, in most cases, depends on it, right? So if something doesn't feel good, you're not going to hang around for it. So you're repelling the people in your life. It's not that, what do you think? I don't know, why am I doing this? I'm trying to challenge that negative, poor me, woe is me narrative. Don't tolerate it for a second. Why are you tolerating negative self-talk? See, we just tolerate it. We tolerate negative feelings. We tolerate negative life scripts. We tolerate, and we don't realize these are the rattlesnakes in our garden. Like we're so passive about it. Like we get worked up about everything outside of us. We get worked up about what other people are doing. We get worked up about what the government's doing, about what other countries are doing, about what other churches are doing, about what other preachers are saying. We get worked up about that, and we tolerate negative self-talk, and we tolerate bad feelings about ourselves. We tolerate being afraid of our power. We tolerate our own internal inadequacies without doing anything about it. What I'm trying to tell you is that is the very stuff that is killing you. and you shouldn't tolerate for one more second. You shouldn't tolerate it for one more day. You should do everything in your power to get rid of narratives and thoughts and beliefs that put you at effect and leave you feeling like the victim, leave you feeling powerless, leave you feeling like you have no light, leave you feeling like you aren't the glory of God. You have no business having feelings of shame. There's a difference, by the way, between guilt and shame. Guilt is a mechanism, is a relational mechanism. It's a social mechanism, and it's a healthy one to have if you want to have good relationships. Again, you can't go around being a jerk to everybody, being negative to everybody, and then be upset that nobody wants to be around you when you have a problem. The problem is not them. The problem is all the seeds that you sowed before you got into your situation. So many people have a standard up here for other people and a standard down here for themselves. And they expect grace when they fall to this standard here from everybody around them. And when everybody around them is not giving them grace, they're complaining. But then, but they have a standard for other people, it's up here. And by golly, you better jump that high or and I'm going to let you know, bless God. And that is a false sense of power. So guilt is a social mechanism that lets you know you messed up. Why? So you can feel bad about yourself? No. So that you can live life in community and with people. And so if you feel guilty about something, guess what? Just clean it up. It's just a mess that needs to be cleaned up, right? Like if you did something wrong, you go and you clean it up. You go and you make it right. You go and apologize. You own it. You don't say, I'm sorry. Like the worst apology in the world. We all know this, right? I'm sorry I did that, but you. Yeah. And if you hadn't, I wouldn't have. So basically you end up saying, I'm sorry that you were such a jerk that I had to respond to you that way. Yes. Seriously. That is, you're in effect, you are a weak, powerless little boy. You are a weak, powerless little girl when you do that. Yeah. Own your shit. Sorry. Just own it, you know? Just like that's what guilt does. I messed up. I take responsibility for what I said. I take responsibility for what I did. And if there's anything I can do to fix it within reason, not within your little demanding, entitled self, but within reason to fix that situation, that's what you do. But watch this, it's indexed. You know what indexed is, right? You remember the index cards? You remember going to the library, the Dewey system before the computers and all that? And man, we had to learn all that stuff in school. Remember that? I hated that. The Dewey number system. But it has its place in a sequence of events. So see, if you mess up, you index it into a sequence of events that occurred in your life that's over. Right? Then you try to learn from it and say, okay, the next time the opportunity comes up, I'm going to put a different index card in that situation. Shame is global. Shame is, oh my God, I messed up a year ago, a month ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 minutes ago, and I still feel terrible about it. Yeah. I think I'm a horrible person. See, shame is toxic. Oh my God, I'm so horrible. Oh my God, I caused so much pain. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And religion and families use shame to control, to manipulate. And as long as you have those buttons and those triggers inside of you, you're not going to live a life. You're going to be the effect of everybody that wants to manipulate you.
Yes,
that's true. But the issue is not them manipulating you. The issue is, what is the stuff inside you that lets them manipulate you? Yes. You will only tolerate abuse to a little bit above how bad you abuse yourself. Just a hair above, because the moment somebody starts treating you worse than you treat yourself, you realize, I don't deserve this. Yep. So you'll only tolerate abuse just a little bit above what you think about yourself. Well, how do I change it? I just don't know how. I just have all this stuff and I just don't know how to do it. That's just another excuse. That's just another excuse. You know how. If you don't know how any other way, you know how intuitively. So the most important thing you can do, now watch this, the most important thing you can do is be empowered to be and do you. Mm-hmm. To be empowered to be and do you. To be your authentic self. Remember they used to tell us in school, you're so unique. Remember this? You're so unique. There'll never be anyone else like you. Just like there's no two snowflakes alike, there are no two human beings alike. And you need to embrace your uniqueness. And then you go out on the playground and embrace your uniqueness, and they send you to the principal's office and spank your butt. You're so unique and wonderful, but we want you to conform.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? It was never the conformists that really changed much. But it's true. You are unique. You're a unique expression and extension of the divine, and you are, in your essence and in your core, God.
Yes.
When we're talking about Christ in you, we're not talking about another being that took up residency inside you. I mean, how creepy is that?
Yes.
Think about it. Come live in my heart. I remember we used to give out these things, my heart, Christ, home. And it used the metaphor of your house, and you have this filthy closet where you shove everything. Jesus wants to knock on that. You're like, oh, no, you can't come in here. I mean, how creepy is that? How many of you want to invite a stranger into your house and just let them investigate every little nook and cranny? Because you're trying to please them. I mean, it's creepy. I am the house of God. So God treats you like furniture? It's so demeaning and dehumanizing. It is so demeaning and dehumanizing to say that somehow you're fractured, broken, and you need something to come fix you, put you at effect. You can't save yourself. You can't heal yourself. You can't fix yourself. Baloney. If you don't do it, nobody else is. But I just don't know how. Stop. All that is an excuse to be powerless. Mm-hmm. All that is an excuse to not make change. That belief in and of itself, I just don't know how, is one you need to kick out. And you need to take charge of your own house. You know what I'm saying? And so when they're talking about Christ in you, they're not saying another being. They're saying you are Christ. You are divine. You are an expression of God that took on soul and became flesh and has been having your experiences. And you're lost in the illusion of your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own values, your own imaginations, your own emotions. And that's the one place that people don't want to do the work. So one place people want to stay stuck. Well, I'm just stuck here because, I was whatever, traumatized. And I understand trauma. Don't misunderstand me. It can really mess a person up. But that stuff, unless it's currently happening to you, the only place it exists is in between your ears. So the only one who can do something about it is you. And if you don't know anything else to do, start asking yourself, what is authentic about me? Maybe that's the question you need to start asking. What is authentic about me? And where am I being authentic, and where am I compromising my authenticity so I can fit into some social paradigm with people that are at a lower vibration than where I want to be? Wow. Our need for belonging, our need for acceptance is so strong, and I get that. But you're going to compromise yourself to stay with a group of people that aren't a vibrational match for who you really are. And I've just become convinced in talking to people and what I've gone through in my own life, especially the last 3 years, I've just become convinced that life works better when you are congruent inside with who you are. When you're not wearing masks and you're not hiding stuff and trying to put on and be something that you're not in order to impress people or whatever the case may be. But you do the work to come to the place that you feel congruent about who you are. And until it gets into your neurology, until you can feel it in your body, until it's anchored in your biology, your behavior won't change. If you have a dream or an idea of being something and it's just existing out here in the air, it's never going to manifest because life happens in this earth. And you are a gateway for the manifestation of the mind of God. Oh, let me get on that one. Stop being an effect and subject to the will of God.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, I know people, I have friends, their answer for everything is just get in alignment with what God wants for you. And it's like God is this totalitarian dictator sitting up in the sky and telling you what clothes to wear and telling you where to work and telling you, and then we get this idea that it's holy when your will and desires are going one direction and God's will and desires are going another direction, that somehow it's holy for you to sacrifice your will and desires. And it is a religious con, because what you don't realize is that your will and desires are an extension of who God is. And so doing the will of God is to actually do what is authentically arising inside you as a will and as a desire. And listen, not every desire, if you get lost in the world of form, now this is where I'll close. And here's what I mean by the world of form. If you get lost in the world of a physical earthly experience, and you do not realize that every desire that you have connects in some way to a richer experience of who you are, watch this, that transcends this physical experience. So here's what I'm saying. You might think, if I have a desire for, let's just make it simple. I have a desire for praise and affirmation from people. Let's say that's an authentic desire. When you start exploring and getting honest with yourself. I feel really good around people who tell me how good I am because it makes me feel good. Right? Is it the praise from other people that you're really desiring? Or is it the effect that you receive from people praising you that you really desire? And if you have that effect, if you have that feeling good, watch this, what does it give you that's even more important to you? A sense of well-being. Let's take addiction. Why do people use? And don't give me, I'm not looking for some clinical scientific answer. Let's just, at the most basic level of any addiction, why do people use something? You're thinking too complicated, too much higher level thinking. Huh? To make you feel different. Let's make it more general. Yeah, you're feeling feelings you don't want to feel, and you're using alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, to feel good. If it didn't feel good, if it didn't get you high, if it didn't take the edge off, if it didn't whatever, give you some kind of euphoria, people would never use. It makes you feel less bad, so it makes you want to feel better. So just generalize it. What's the desire to do the drugs? I want to feel good. I want to feel better. I want people to praise me because I want to feel okay. Those are your real desires. So you get trapped in thinking, oh, I desire this person because the way I feel when I'm with this person. No, I desire to feel good. I desire this drug. No, you desire to feel good. When I use, for some people, it's about freedom. They don't feel like they have any freedom anywhere else in their life, and they have power over that. And so, seriously, like some eating disorders, mild ones, can be related if the person doesn't have a dysmorphic condition where they see a different person in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? But they can end up using food because it gives them some sense of freedom and control and power in their life. So they're going after this. But see, here's the problem. We want all this stuff that's within us, that's already within us, and we're trying to use something out there to get it, because here's the faulty belief. I need something to make myself whole. I need something to save me. I need something that I can't learn to feel good unless I have something outside myself that's generating the feeling. And really, you've put the cart before the horse. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about coming from your needy effect place and saying, oh, I really desire these things, and then going out and trying to get them so that you can be the effect again. If I have those things, I'll feel better. Are you tracking with me? Are you following what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, you have the feeling first. I feel good about doing this. When I do this, it gives me pleasure. Do you remember the movie Chariots of Fire? Remember the guy, Eric Liddell, I think was his name? All caught up in some religious struggle because the race was on Sunday. Think about that. You got a chance to go to the Olympics one Sunday, and you're so stinking religious and in such religious bondage, you won't run on Sunday because it's the Lord's Day. Remember, at one point, the famous line from the movie, when I run, I feel his pleasure. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about opening up, and what is it, where do you feel the pleasure of God? Where do you feel the most alive? Where do you feel the most connected? Where do you feel the most okay? Where do you feel the most congruent? And then from that place, what are you going to do that's going to make you happy? So you're coming from a place of wholeness. You're coming from a place of power. You're coming from a place of absolute freedom and choice. And then you have the power to go out and express your authentic self. So you want to know how? The first step, take back your power. Put the power over your own life back with yourself. If you don't like your job, get a different job. If you need training to get that different job, like don't do this. Don't quit your job and then expect somehow the universe is going to send it to you because you're sending out a vibration. Or God's going to give it to you because you're praying for the door to open. Don't do that. If you need new skills, go get new skills. If you need a higher paying job, what higher paying job do you want? And then what's the path to getting there? Well, I can't leave the town because my family's here, and all my friends are here, and my kids, and you just put yourself right back in effect. Yep. If it's going to be, it's up to me. I feel like I went on quite a rant this morning, so. But I did on purpose because wherever like that hit you, like what are your triggers? What are the stories? What are the disempowering beliefs and feelings? Where is the power in your life? Who's running your life? Who's in control of your life? Who's lording over your own happiness and change and well-being? And if it's not you, take back your power. You want to know who's controlling your life? Ask yourself, who's the person in my life that I can be the least authentic with and that I work the hardest to keep the peace with? You'll find out who's controlling you. Take back your power. Amen? Amen. Bless you. You know, in India they say namaste, and it means the divine in me recognizes the divine in you, and I honor it. So namaste. Have a great day.